And a very simple hack that you just mentioned as well, I use different words for it, is to take it step by step. One step at a time, one day at a time. Don't look at the mountain in front of you, just look at the next step of stairs, right? And if you keep doing that, one, one, stop looking at the 100. If you just do one, and one, things become a lot simpler. If you keep focusing on the destination and this mountain you have to summit, it will be very overwhelming. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Wiser Together. This is your host, Parmeet Kumar, with your co host, Anas Pasha. Thank you, everyone, for joining us and being a part of this, for supporting us in any way you have been, and we truly appreciate it. So keep watching and listening, and we'll keep bringing you the wisdom that we're trying to bring about to our community. So let's get this started. Today we have my very good friend Anirudh here. His name is Anirudh Nathan. He's from Canada. He pursues law. I met him in university. This was back in 2015, I believe. Can't believe it's been 8 years. Uh, and in the UK at the University of Surrey. So, yeah, that's where we met and we got really close. And I've known him ever since. We've been brothers, really close, always opening up to each other, uh, talking about our weaknesses and vulnerabilities, and I feel like that played a big role as to what our relationship is today, which I'm very grateful for. So yeah, I'll pass over to Anirudh, and also I want to thank Anirudh because this is probably the third time we're recording this because of some technical difficulties. So I want to thank you also by being patient with us and doing this again. uh, but yeah, if you want to do a quick introduction for yourself, uh,
For
please
sure.
go ahead.
Thank you so much, Prameet. And honestly, yes, you have been my brother. We've been. I can't believe it's 8 years, but it has been. It's been so long. But I can't. The friends you make in university are literally going to be yours for life because we basically did everything together. So really appreciate that,
Yeah.
and I am very grateful for this too. Just a little bit about myself. After going to the UK, I came back. I've been trying to accredit myself, or I guess legal license myself to practice law in Canada. It's been going a little rocky, but I think there's always obstacles that you just need to keep pushing if it's something that you really want. I've had some time to work at the Big Fours, worked at PwC and KPMG, and now I work with the Mayor of Oakville, a little city that likes to call itself a town but acts like a village.
Nice. That's amazing. So you, from the beginning, we'll get into how you got into law as well. You wanted to pursue law, born and brought up in Canada, from an Indian background, correct?
I was born in India actually, but
Oh, you were born in India,
yeah,
but moved to Canada when you were really young.
two, yes,
And wanted to pursue law. Law is maybe 7 years in Canada, and that's why you came to the UK. Did the 3 years, went back to Canada, did your exams again
yes,
to convert your
yes. So
qualifications
to
to Canadian.
accredit myself, it's called the
Yeah,
National Committee on Accreditation. So it's accrediting your
yeah,
degree. So that's all done. It was 8 exams because I didn't have an undergraduate degree, but that's out of the way, and now it's the bar exam, which is the final process
yeah.
to qualifying yourself.
So after that, you worked for KPMG and PwC.
Yeah, so PwC, then KPMG. I articled at KPMG and
Perfect.
was working in immigration at PwC.
Amazing. And then after that, you left the Big Fours, and then you are now working with the mayor of Oakville, which Oakville is a town, small town next to, not small, but a
It
town next to
is
Toronto. By no means
200,000.
it's small. I've been there.
I mean, two hundred
Yeah,
thousand people.
but in size, it's pretty big, and
It
it's
is.
beautiful, beautiful, magnificent. I actually visited Anirudh last year in
You did.
Oakville, and it was amazing. And all this while, you've also been trying to pass bar.
Yes.
So, do you want to quickly explain for people who don't know law what bar is?
Yeah. So the bar exam is split off in Canada into barristers and solicitors. The barrister's exam is more in court, mainly dealing with, criminal law, civil litigation, family, and public law. Whereas the solicitor's exam is uh, business law, real estate, and estate litigation. So it's still, so one's more client facing, the other is, you know, more uh,
Yeah.
like paperwork kind of.
Essentially, it's just an exam you have to pass to practice law, be it as a solicitor or a barrister,
Both.
correct?
You're both. Well, in Canada,
In
you're both.
Canada.
Yes.
In Canada, you're
So
both.
in the UK, you're either a barrister or a solicitor. But whereas in Canada, you are qualified as both.
Nice, nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, it works differently in every country, but every first world English country probably has bar, but it's in different ways. Because my sister does law in the
Hmm.
UK, and hers is very different, and Australian law is
Exactly.
kind of different as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, how'd you get into law, bro? Like, because I've always seen you like you most people like studying and stuff. They're not so I wasn't, hell, I wasn't sure. 18, 19 at university doing business. I only did business because my that's all I knew. My dad was a businessman, so uh, I was just living in my box. That's all I knew, so that's all I could pursue. But I wasn't really sure. But you were always so sure that you want to do law, you want to open your own firm, be a lawyer, and we would always come to you for anything law related and these complicated questions, and you always had the answers to them. Like, seems to me like you're always interested in it, always reading up on it, and yeah, you had a very clear vision in mind that you want to do this, and you've been very determined. So walk us through that journey.
For sure. I
How did-
think law is like, I guess, engineering, but without a practical solution. It's a more like life based solution. Engineering, I feel like you're
Hmm.
trying to figure out, how certain pieces. See, I'm not an engineer, so this is just my thoughts about what engineers do. But it's
Yeah.
trying to figure out like a practical solution to a practical problem. Whereas law is figuring out a real life solution to a real life problem. So I think that's the only thing that kind of interested me in law. And I love listening to people. I love listening to, any kind of, potential problems they might have, and I like to come to a solution. I like to help them resolve it, and I think that's all being a lawyer is. I think it's resolving issues and
Yeah.
figuring out the best way for your client. But I think it all
But where did
started.
it spark from? Cause yeah, you
Mhm.
were coming there.
Oh
Cause for me
yes,
as well, like because I only knew like my dad was a businessman. I was like, man, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be like, there's this spark, and maybe you don't remember it, but there is always is that spark that, oh, I want to be a business. Like this was for me, and that's all I knew. So then I pursued business in university. So did you have that spark somewhere? No, I want to do law. Cause I know your dad isn't a lawyer, right?
no,
So
yes.
that wasn't the same for you.
Exactly. And I think it all started in grade five. I had a very amazing teacher named Miss Bick. And in Canada, grade five is when you learn about, Parliament. You learn about like procedure and what happens, how to, what standing is, or, how you can take an issue to court. I know that's really funny in grade five, but I think I was really interested in it. And she kind of, Miss Bick, pushed me into this path of learning more and reading more and trying to help people, try to, resolve the issues with the government, by the government. So I think it's understanding that difference between, helping somebody and then being, you know a part of their journey to resolving uh, a matter.
Is this education part of the entire curriculum all
Yeah,
over Canada, or
yeah,
just
yeah. Grade five is when you learn about like the
well
whole
that
parliamentary procedure.
I mean that explains a lot because I don't think until or after we graduated high school in Pakistan we were we were taught about such things. So that's actually
No.
yeah, because law making policies and understanding these things, the complexities of running an entire country or at least a small county is just important because you see that expands your mind and horizon. Not only in terms of
Definitely.
studying law, I believe whatever profession other children would have had to follow, they would have an understanding as to how these
Yeah.
policymakers are making those policies.
Exactly.
But like Parmeet said, so that sparked your mind at at grade 5. But I'm
Yes.
just trying to understand, are we even that developed or like mature to even understand the complexities of it? So I'm really curious, like, was that like the spark, or was that like your teacher planted a seed in your mind for a tree to grow?
So honestly, I think kids are very, very smart for their age because they're a lot more perceptive to what they want and the people around them.
Mm,
So I think
yeah.
it's that age when you actually know what's going on around you, but you pursue the interests that you find, you know, happy or whatever you find like
You're not as
interesting.
conscious, maybe.
Sure, you're not conscious. I think there's a whole discussion about what makes you conscious at 18 and what makes you an adult at 18. But you have like kids that are going through university at like 14 or 12. Like what defines that ability to become an adult and have that consciousness? I think kids are very perceptive. Like you see kids trying to use an iPad at like 4 or 5 and like literally,
Yeah.
create like these,
Quick learners.
yeah, and these like I saw a DJ that was like 5 years old creating like a beat using like a stick and a spoon. And like it's just the amount of creativity that these kids have and the amount of like intuition they have for something that they enjoy and that they're willing to put the time towards. I think we
Yeah.
have that innate ability in all of us, but we're just not finding that. And I'm just glad I was able to find it very young and like still push myself every day. I like even that was when I was 10. I'm like 26 now. Like 16 years of me thinking I want to do something and still not being there, but still being like, yeah, I still want to do it. Like 16 years later, I would love to, go to the Supreme Court and do something
That's
and
uh
file
that's
something.
pretty
Very interesting.
amazing, and I agree with you. Kids at that age are quite impressionable. They don't have like a lot of information, so there's a lot of room for, I mean, specific skills to come in. I'm really curious, apart from your teacher, who else played a pivotal role in this entire journey?
So I think one of my main mentors, which who isn't around any longer. I think he passed away in
May they rest in peace.
2016. Thank you so much. His name was Max Kahn, and I got to go to his law firm. I got to see him work in that legal environment, and I got to go to a couple of cases along the way. And he was also a counselor running to be an MP in the 2015 election. That whole liberal shift was running, I think, mainly because of children and going into that election being
Oh
eligible
wow.
to vote. Yeah, like I think
Okay.
that was the shift in the liberal timeline where I think there was a lot of impressionable, youth that were able to decide the future for Canada. But I got to work on his campaign and I got to really help him out. But I didn't get to see him come to fruition. But
So
it was
he
just,
was a lawyer,
yes,
turning into a politician, correct?
he was already a politician. So he was a counselor,
Okay.
a town counselor
Uh-huh.
for Oakville,
But was
and
he a
then
practicing law or
yes,
like
at the same time. So a
okay, perfect.
counselor's position, it's like you can do it on the side, basically.
Uh-huh.
So he was a
I see.
lawyer by day and then a counselor by night. Basically, he was like Superman.
So if I were to ask, because while you were saying, you mentioned quite a lot of skills. So just from the top of my head, for the aspiring lawyers listening, what are the top 3 skills you think are required to be a lawyer?
I think number one is reading. I think you definitely need to read and
For
synthesize
sure.
information. Synthesizing
Yeah.
it, is even better because you have to write memos, and partners don't want to read like long memos. They just want to see the crux of
Yeah.
the issue. So synthesizing that information, and then communication. If you're able to communicate, your job level or where you're at with your workload, all of that stuff. I think if you communicate that, I think that's the number one skill of being able to communicate with your clients, not getting back to them on, in a timely
Yeah.
manner. I think that's mainly what you need to be a solid
So
functioning lawyer.
Also,
reading and communication.
Yes.
What's the third?
Synthesizing, like, like
Synthesizing.
right.
Okay.
Yes. So being able to write effectively and I guess
Concisely, yeah.
communicate effectively because you have to read
I
all of
guess
that.
those are like generally essential life skills as well. If you're a
Exactly.
good communicator and if you're
100%.
analytical
For
and
any
are
profession,
able
maybe,
to,
I think. Yeah, for any
Definitely.
profession.
yeah, it's just for just like living a effective and successful life as well. It's an essential skill to being able to communicate effectively, coherently,
100%.
uh, and yeah, cannot uh, you know emphasize the importance of this enough. So, well, is there anything specific in law? I think reading is something that you guys have to do a lot of. Like you were showing us the books
The
you
book, yeah.
have to go through as
Would you
well.
like to see
Like,
it?
yeah, why
This is
not?
tax. This is the
Yeah,
income
this is
tax act.
That's just,
this
yeah,
definitely
The
discourages all the aspiring lawyers. I think half of them quit this video right now. Half of them cancel
yeah.
their application.
you
But
know
you know,
what?
right? Anirudh
Mhm.
also showed us a book which had half of the book had pictures as well. So I want to read that one.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I think
Yeah,
reading is definitely something because I would read, just paragraphs of the Income Tax Act and I wouldn't understand it because I think it's about the whoever was writing it, like their interpretation, and that's all like law is. The judge's interpretation, the counsel's interpretation, and then who's right at the end of the day. Like the judge
mhm,
decides
mhm.
it. So it's all about who can be more persuasive in their argument. That's all
Yeah,
law
And
is.
adding on this, I want to share like an impression that I have, and I want both of your opinion. So I've lived my life 27 and a half years on this earth, and of course that's a long time. I feel like a dinosaur, sometimes. And having dealt with so many people, so many situations, and seen so many things, to me, I believe law is the best profession in the world. Like to me, I think okay, maybe I take that back. Being a doctor is the best profession in the world because hey, nothing comes before healing and giving life and to someone. But yeah,
100%.
doctors
Mhm.
come after because of the aspect of justice that you were talking about. Because I think these professions are ancient. I was reading
Yeah,
up on the Roman Empire. There were lawyers over there.
Hmm.
People like there were private solicitors over there. People used to hire lawyers at that time as well, and there were surgeons at that time too. They performed brain surgery. So these two being ancient like professions, and law being a profession that has existed time and time again, where people have been seeking justice, I believe that it's one of the most powerful and like a responsible profession in the world. And I think we need more lawyers. I think we need more judges because sometimes you read about things, in society, about injustices happening, about people not being treated fairly and rightly. So I want to know your opinion about law. How do you guys see law as a profession? Do you guys like look up to a lawyer, or do you frown upon a lawyer? Because sometimes the pop culture might portray them as power hungry, just money grabbing or opportunists, like
which they can be
that sort of a people.
sometimes.
Definitely.
True.
So I think, whenever there are issues, there will always be lawyers. And whenever there are issues, there will always be human beings. So wherever there are human beings, there will always be lawyers. So I think it's hand in hand, they go together
Interesting.
because at the end of the day, it's innately, we all have problems. I think, you know, no matter what, we're going to have a problem in our life. No matter what, something's
Mm,
going to come up, and I think it's that, and I completely agree with you that we do need more lawyers because I think access to justice is something that not everybody has. We All lawyers do are protect your rights. So if there are human beings, which like there will always be human beings, there will be lawyers, and I think they just protect you, they just want to help, but it's such an inequitable access to justice that it's really
Exactly.
scary. It's really scary that you think, oh, lawyers are shady or lawyers are this, lawyers are that, but it's whenever you need something for you and your rights are infringed upon, or something's happened to you, where do you go? You go to your lawyer. Like, you need somebody to help you out with, say a contract issue, or a dispute, or say a slip and fall, or something happened to you. Insurance, like, you always need like a lawyer to protect you. And I think it's bad that we can't
Your
just,
interest,
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. And I think it's bad that people always think, oh God, I have to call my lawyer. But your lawyer is the one that's going to help you proceed further. Because even
Hmm.
if you do a transaction, you're buying and selling a company, you're buying and selling property. Who closes that transaction? Like, it's a lawyer. Um,
Make sure you're protected
exactly,
by the
because
law.
it's interest. It's all about interest. And even, you when you're going about in this world, like, you always need to protect yourself. Like, and it shouldn't be bad to say, I have a lawyer, like, call my lawyer. Like, they see
This
that in.
reflects so much on you. Like, I can now see what Pramit was also saying, that like, you seem like a person, because to me lawyers are super. I consider them as Superman. So I mean, I guess I could probably say that you are also a Superman, and
I
like I
will
see
be, I
how.
will be.
Yes sir, you
With that
will. And
smile, you are. With
yeah.
that
I
smile.
appreciate
And I
it.
see why Parmeet said that, like, for these things they used to come to you. And I think this, like, I think when I raised that point, this thing came out inside of you, where, like, you seem like a person who's there to help others mainly, and to help others achieve their goals, achieve their things. I just have like a very personal question for you. When you need things to be, like, to get done, and when you need help, who do you go to?
My dad, easy, hands down. As much as my dad's my Superman. Honestly, as much as he looks that I'm not achieving what I can achieve, I always can go to him and ask him whatever question I need, and he would be there. So he's my Superman, and I know he's always got my back. So I think it's my mom and my dad, but mainly my dad. I think it's a nice relationship to have, especially, I think it's like phases in life that you go through where you love your parents, 0 to 5 or 0 to 6. Then you like start, like, shying away from your parents from like 7 to like 18, maybe, 19, maybe 20, maybe 21, depending on how you are. And then you slowly, like, come back to them, because that no matter what, like, they always
That
have
is
your
so
back.
true.
So I think it's all
It's
in phases.
interesting. Yeah.
But
It's
definitely.
interesting you say that. Like, how they say, like, people who criticize you the most want you to grow the most as well.
Definitely.
Not in all situations, I guess. There's a lot of haters as well, but definitely my parents also criticize me a lot as well. And it never, when you look at it on a surface level, you just think about it like, why are they making my life harder, like this and that. But like, if you go deep down, like, where is that coming from? It's coming from them wanting to see you do the best you can in your life. And it comes from the same place that it comes from within ourselves, right? We can also be very critical of ourselves because we're not achieving our full potential, right? But if we think about it on the surface level, oh, I'm not doing this and this. But if you go deep down, there's this criticism coming from because you want to be able to reach your full potential. And if you're not able to be self-critical, look at it, reflect on it for what it is, and then be self critical and create an environment, a platform for you to overcome those, uh, you know, uh,
That is so true, Pramit. That is so true.
yeah.
And I think a lot of our listeners would relate to it. A lot of our listeners might be going through the same thing because, of course, like, at the end of the day, I mean, there are parents, and blood is blood,
And I
So,
actually like that, there's a
yeah,
lot of like, we're becoming soft in a way in today's society where whatever they do, like, we're adults enough and we should learn this skill of being able to read between the lines or under the surface, right? But today's society, like, I see there's in places and families where we've become soft in the way that the parents are like, no, it's okay, that's fine, this is it. But my parents were a bit hard on me in that sense critical. They're like, okay, that's fine, you've done this, you can overcome this, this is fine. Yeah, but it's not like they feel sorry for you, they're sitting next to you, they're there for you in their hard time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps in the moment, but it's not sustainable. It won't help in the long term. Eventually, like, you need to be able to learn to overcome your problems yourself. Yeah, you have that mattress to fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a hard surface behind you, which is a privilege. Realize that, but don't keep using it and overusing it, because once you build dependency on that, eventually you're dependent, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that eventually, when you look back, that mattress won't be there, or that dependency will overpower you in a way, and it won't have the same kind of effect. But if you learn to do that by yourself again and again, yeah, you faced a failure, sit by yourself, get criticized by your parents,
Mm-hmm.
run that through your mind, and don't take it personally that, look, why are they saying this to me? They just want the best for you. They're your
Exactly.
parents, right? They didn't want the best for you, you wouldn't be here,
Definitely.
right?
Exactly.
So it's important to, and I see that in your family as well. I've met your parents as well, and they're freaking hard at you. I see that as well, and that really bothers you because I've
You
seen
know,
the kind of, like,
I wanna add on this. There's a very interesting analogy that not an analogy, but like a realization that I had, like a sort of a revelation. You know,
yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
of course, like this is such a common theme in everyone's houses. You know, the parents are criticizing, the parents are saying this or that, and even
Hmm.
if you want to do something, they'll just like question a little bit. And you know what I realized is that if nobody knows, like, okay, like I always thought growing up that adults have an understanding, adults know how to, like, they have it figured out.
Mm-hmm.
But trust me, even if a guy is 99 years old and he looks like, like a wise person, trust me, he doesn't know where he put his socks. Okay, trust me on this. I've realized this. And what I've come to realize is the revelation is this. Okay, every day a person is trying to learn how to act their age. Like, for example, so I'm 27, and let's say 7 months down, right? Now I don't know how to act. Like, okay, let's say I'm 27 and 9 months and 10 days down. Now I don't know how to act at 27 years, 9 months, and the 11th day. Okay, like I don't know how to act. Same is with our parents. If they don't know, for example, if they're in their 50s, right? They don't know how to act at age 51, at age 52. They're learning. They're literally learning. There is no manual, there is no guidebook. Even if their parents taught them something, it was at a different time, different age, different education, different environment. Most of
Yeah,
families shift to another culture. They immigrate, their children go to a different school than they did. And of course, with the advent of technology, everything is changing so fast. So here's what I learned: listen to them, understand what they're saying, just listen, do not listen to react, because I used to do that. And a lot of friends criticize me, but that's the funniest part. They used to criticize me, but when I used to be around their parents, it was the same thing. So we're
Yeah.
all just like a reflection of each other. So
yeah.
this is what I love about this conversation. This particular part about this conversation is that all three of us are trying to just make sense of this entire thing. So just listen to understand them, because hey, they don't know any better. And like Parmeet said, they love you. And like you said, they will be critical. So that's fine. That's okay. Just
Because
listen, learn, and reflect.
100%.
because think about it, it's a learning process for them as well. Like, I'm 26, right? They've never in their entire life had a kid who's 26. I'm 26 now,
Yeah.
right? Before they were learning to uh, 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 bring up, brought up a child which is 5, 6, 7. As I'm growing older, they're growing older as well. Their way of parenting and how they want to deal with me and those things, they're constantly learning as well. And they're humans. They make mistakes. They're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, right? And that comes down to when they're at that age. Uh, it's equally a blank canvas and a new playing ground for them as much as it is for you, right? So I just say, like, sometimes, because we're humans, and never can we ever have our communication skills uh, at 100%, so we do say things that might not uh, be perfectly articulated, right? And that's just speech, right? Everybody has a different way of saying stuff. Like, you might used one word for something, and I might use a different synonym for this to explain the same word, right? Because that just means that stuff means that to me, and that different
Absolutely.
word means different things to you. But what I say is just focus on the intention. Even if my dad is coming like, you're stupid, why are you doing this, like, why are you calling me stupid, this is you take it personally and stuff, and I used to do
Yeah.
that as well, I'm
Don't
not
be a
gonna lie.
snowflake, guys. Don't be a snowflake.
Yeah, but no, it's like your first instinct is that slow flake, right? Depending on how you've grown up. But I at least I used to be like, why is he calling me stupid, this and that? Like you kind of take that personally because you kind of sort of feel like low key, yeah, you are stupid. Why the hell did you? Yeah, like that's why you take it personally, right? But like you go deep down and think about their intention. Like, why are they saying this? Maybe their way of saying it isn't right, but their intentions are right because they
Yes,
want
sir.
to, you know,
You know, I
make.
am preparing. I already have like a Google sheet dedicated to my children, whoever they are, how many they are.
Wow.
There's already resources and links there because Reddit. I know Anirudh also is a big Redditor like I am, right?
Definitely.
And there are links and resources dedicated to them because I love listening to people. I love reading about them. And one thing that I think I will specialize in, if I do in anything, is to learn from people's mistake and to not repeat them. So I advise everyone to use Reddit, join these subreddits, prepare for your
100%.
future children. Like people our age, if you are planning on having children, look, it's going to be hard. Prepare for
Yep.
them. Have a Google Sheet ready, have a tab ready for them, add those links over there. And I think still, having done all of this, we will still fail. And I wanna like talk about failure here. Um, all of us fail at so many things. I have failed at a lot of things in life, a lot of universities that I did not get into. Parmeet told me, and I think like Parmeet to continue and on this because Parmeet, you and I were talking about these things, and I think this is a very interesting part of the podcast that we're entering into.
Yeah, failing is, I mean, hell, I'm failing every day. I'm failing today, failing to wake up on time, failing to, not do the things that I intended to do, failing to meet certain people's parents' expectations, failing to. It happens every day. I just hate that people have this very negative association to the word failure, and people don't realize how important of an ingredient it is in success, right? If you didn't fail while pursuing success, you're not successful, you're not accomplished, you didn't accomplish anything, you didn't try out the 100 ways to achieve that one thing, and learn through those processes and know that trying out these 100 ways, this is the one way that gets you there. That is what success means. Success is just how many times you can fail, right? So I hate that people have this negative association to the word failure. You should fail and you should keep failing. What's real failure is not trying, right? And there's this big fear that people have of failure that restricts them from even trying, right? And that, in my eyes, is the biggest failure, right? If you try and then you fail, trust me, you haven't failed. It's like we say, and we hear all everybody say it as well. It's an attempt because it genuinely is, because you keep trying again and again and again. If you pass the first time, it's luck, and you didn't learn much. So better fail than not try. We said this before as well. You better fail than not try. So getting into failure, I love this topic, and I think it fits perfectly here as well. Anirudh and me have talked about this countless times as well. Uh, so yeah, let's get into it. Law is something that you're very passionate about, and you're determined. Like you are determined, my friend. And kudos to you for that. Hats off to you, my friend. And honestly, this just raises the bar. In my eyes, you set the bar very high. I respect you more. I love you more. I look up to you more, right? Uh, and it's because of all those failures. So let's get into it so people have some context as well. Bar apparently it's really hard, man, because if you're not able
So
to do it,
it's just
God
me.
bless people. Just you.
It's just
So I
me.
don't know. So tell me about your bar journey specifically,
Sure.
getting through that exam, because you want to become a lawyer, and that is the biggest hurdle
That is the only
in
hurdle
your.
right now.
That is the only hurdle.
Right now.
So
Yes.
walk us through that.
Yes.
Walk us through that.
So far I've this is my fourth attempt, or I just did my fourth attempt.
Fifth,
Well, failed my fourth attempt.
it'll be.
It'll be my fifth attempt coming up.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah.
That's
Hey,
amazing.
you know what? You don't, as you said, it's lack of trying that's the failure. So it's actually a journey that I'm still going. I'm still on. I'm on this path, and I think it's just teaching me a lot about myself and my ability to overcome and keep going. I think it's the fact that I passed one on the fourth and final attempt is giving me some hope, at least that I'm doing something right and that something is going my way. But in order for you to be a lawyer here, you need to pass both the barrister and the solicitor. So I think it's just coming back to the nitty gritty, coming back to actually studying again and going through that journey of failing and understanding that sometimes it's not good enough what you do, and it's okay because there's more for you to learn and there's more for you to understand and keep growing on. So I think it's teaching me stuff every day, and it's teaching me how to keep going on. When you literally have no more chances left, there's still a move. And I think that's my perception on life now, because when you look at failure, you think, oh god, it's like, life is over. You tried to do this one thing, you weren't able to accomplish it. No, that's not how life is, because the next day comes, and then the day after that comes, and then the day after that comes.
Keeps
So
going
it
on.
just it's life. It's
Anirudh,
not
if I may ask, what
Yes.
keeps you going?
I would just want to add to that, because I remember we were having this conversation at some point. I don't know if it was after a second attempt or third attempt, and you were like, "Bro, third, this is the last time I'm gonna give it." And
Oh, wow.
there was this,
Yep.
yeah, and I want to touch base on that, because how close, and this is very common, right? And this happens, and it's because whenever you face failure, you feel so small and insignificant, and it's the thought of other people's perception of you that really makes you feel very small and insignificant, which genuinely doesn't matter in the bigger picture. We had this conversation, and you were like, "This is the last time I'm gonna do it," which was the third time, I believe, and you were looking to pursue other things and stuff. So how did you overcome that as well? Because that's a big part of overcoming failure.
So I think it comes down to your grit and your ability to see what's inside of you. Because if it's not something I wanted to do, I think I would have given up at the third attempt.
100%.
Because in
Yeah.
order for you to push yourself to do it again a fourth time and then fail again and then still have the ability to be like, hey, fifth time,
Fuel to go.
let's go. Another two, we're in it, we're back to grinding, we're back to studying every day. So I think it's is it, do you really want it, or does somebody else want it for you that
For you. Yeah.
pushes you to keep going down this like rabbit hole, because it is a rabbit hole. In order for you to like accomplish something, like you're gonna have to think about it nonstop. It's gonna have to be something that's you wake up to, you're always thinking about, it's always on your mind. It's like this this knack that's never getting off your back, because it's always consistently
Pressure.
on you. Yeah. And if you're not okay with that, then it's not something that you are okay with going through, because you have to be crazy. Like you have to be,
It's the price you have to pay.
yeah, exactly, to do it. And like as you were saying, on us, like the doctors, they have to go through like 10 times more, because they're learning about every god knows what goes on with the
Yeah,
human
yeah.
body. So I think it's that intention to just keep pushing yourself. Doesn't matter if you fail, doesn't matter what happens next, I'm going to keep studying, or I'm going to keep reading and trying to get myself uh, better for my next attempt, and being able to pass that and just be finally a lawyer.
That
Because
is amazing.
yeah,
I understand now what keeps you going. And I
Yeah.
believe having this conversation with you, and even before starting this podcast, like I understood one thing, that this process, you're already in pain, right? And might as well get a reward out of it. And
Exactly.
I feel like pain is temporary. It may last for a minute or an hour or a day, right? But eventually it will subside, it will go
Yes.
away, and something else will take its place. And in your case, that is going to be you getting your degree, or your like your accreditation for being a lawyer.
Hmm.
And this is the cost of winning. Like this book I always keep talking about, Relentless, right? Tim Grover. It's written by Tim Grover, and he's the coach of Michael Jordan. And this guy has not only trained Michael Jordan, but Kobe Bryant, Charles Barkley, so many other, Dwayne Wade, all of these great basketball players. And this guy is a winner. He knows not only how to win, but make other people win as well, and insert that mentality. And he says that I know a lot about winning because I failed so many times. Michael Jordan has also said, he's lost over 300 games, right?
Hmm.
He's missed over 9,000 shots, 26 game winning shots, and he says that it's my fault that I've made you think that I am the greatest player ever, and I've made you think that this game is easy. But you look at his failures, you look at his things, you realize that that's damn, like 9,000 shots are a lot. That's like
Hmm.
almost 18 to 20,000 points,
Yeah.
and like I said, giving up, while we're in the process, the pain is there, and that eventually goes away. But if we give up, the pain will be there forever.
Yeah.
Every night when we're sleeping, every time we see, like for example, if I want to be a basketball player, and if I don't become one, if I give up and I see another basketball player, that will sting me, that will bring back memories, that will bring back thoughts that, damn, I could have given one more attempt, I could have
Hmm.
done that. And this is what Parmeet and I also talk about. We don't list them as failures, we list
Hmm.
them as attempts. So,
100%.
so brother, I mean, kudos to you. Like Parmeet said, that you wear your emotions on the sleeve. You are as pure as they come. Thank you for sharing your journey into this. And I believe a lot of young and aspiring lawyers, who might be in the same boat or who are entering that boat, will understand that, that this journey for some might be easy, and like after a while it might get hard, but for some at the beginning it might be hard. So, and that is the journey, and life is a journey, and we're all on the same boat, battling our own demons.
100%. I
I think one
appreciate.
thing you pointed out is very fundamental here, which is not just applicable to law, but every profession, every pursuit in life, is that are you truly, truly, truly deep down trying to achieve that for yourself because you want to achieve that, or are you still living up to the pressures and the expectations of your parents, family, friends, and society? And I've spent a big part of my life living under that pressure and trying to meet those expectations, trying to be someone I'm not, be this cool whatever person that is seems like to be thriving in that society, which I was for uh, the first maybe quarter of my life. So I think that can only get you so far, and eventually you run out of energy because that movement, that energy, that fuel is coming from outside validation, right? And eventually that runs out. Eventually you takes on so much pressure, you're exhausted, right? You can't live up to those pressures, and you just don't feel good in doing that. So the fact that you still kept on going, right? I can't even imagine how much depth you would have had to go inside you to find that and question yourself like that is this something that I really want to do? Am I determined? Do I want to do this or not? And once you go deep down in that dark hole and face your demons there and ask yourself, do I really want to do this? And you get the answer, yes, I want to. Maybe you'll face a few more times, but that power, that fuel is so potent, so strong, no matter how many hurdles come uh, in your pursuit of your accomplishment, you'll overcome them. You'll
And
always overcome them.
considering,
And I
like,
see
he
that in
has
you.
a great job right now. I mean, he's working with the mayor of
Yeah,
Oakville,
he's so
right?
accomplished.
Right, hand in hand with a person who is so experienced in policy making, and like he's right there at the shoulder. Not even in terms of having like a good career. It's an awesome job. Like, you get to help the community, you get to listen to their problems, you get to solve. Like, at the same time, that is also fulfilling your purpose, like you said, to help people.
Definitely.
I want to know, like, how did you get this job? Like, it's such a unique job. For me, told me about it, and I was like, damn, he must be like, how do you score such a job? I'm very
No,
curious.
so I just wanted to add on one thing to what Prameet was saying. It's
Yeah.
deep
Sure.
down inside how far I had to go. But it's honestly like battling yourself, because it's battling yourself out of this um, out of all of this like deep insecurity in
These
people like
narratives, yeah.
exactly. But it's like 12 rounds with yourself inside your soul,
Yeah.
like you're
Every
going
day.
yeah, and it's fighting to see if your narrative of yourself can withstand all of these other thoughts around you. And it's all within yourself,
Mm,
because you're fighting all of those instincts to say that you're not good enough, to say that you're not going to be able to pass, and you're not going to be able to face those fears anymore. So it's fighting with yourself, but being able to like say, be true to who you are and what you believe in yourself. So I think it's fighting those fears in yourself gets you to where you want to be. And yeah, I had to go through a lot because it was
More power to
mentally,
you.
yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
mentally
know that was a
draining.
really hard time for you. I know that was a really hard time for you. And
Definitely.
I'm glad, like, when you come and open up about those vulnerabilities with each other and talk about those things, like, we feel so connected, and that connection isn't surface level, it's soul to soul. How did you overcome that? How did you overcome that narrative? And how did you find that drive within you and answer within you that, yeah, this is really what I want to do?
So I think it all comes down to
Because I know you suffered
me.
through some level of depression, anxiety as well, and
100%.
through this process. So
Yes.
how did you overcome all that?
So I still haven't. I don't think I have overcome my depression, because I think there's always
How do you
days.
manage
Yeah,
it?
I
Maybe if that's the right
for
question.
sure. Like I think it's about understanding that the next day will be there, and whatever happens today isn't like the be all and end all, because the sun will shine tomorrow. And it's
Hmm.
understanding that in myself, that you don't have to put too much pressure on yourself to achieving a result or achieving something in life, because just being alive, I mean, if we can really think about it, is so amazing. That why are
Yeah.
you like letting something that isn't gonna affect you, particularly you, let
Hmm.
that control how you perceive life. So I think it's just separating myself and having that, compartmentalization.
Breaking it down.
Yeah, to just
That's very important.
separate. It's not you, it's
Yeah.
something else. It's just a little aspect of you, but you are, that bright ball of like I was not myself for a while, like because of this, because of how much I, hated myself and thought I wasn't good enough for, even talking to people. I don't think I talked to you for like a year and a half or 2 years, because of how like
Yeah.
embarrassed I was, and
Yeah.
how I just hated it. I was like, oh, this isn't what I've been working towards, and I was just closing myself off. But I think it's
Yeah.
breaking down that
And
like
I
self
felt
doubt.
really bad at the time that what why can't he open up to me? And uh, I need to create that environment for him to open up again in that way and feel safe and secure, which I'm glad we were able to overcome. I think one thing that you mentioned is so important, that compartmentalizing it, breaking it down, where generally we live in a society that teaches us to be ambitious. we do we're very ambitious, we become ambitious, and then we create this mountain in front of us that we have to summit, right? But every day we live looking at that mountain, which seems impossible to summit, right? And then that sort of creates this feeling of not being able to do it, right? And then that creates anxiety and depression and this and that. And a very simple hack that you just mentioned as well, I use different words for it, is to take it step by step, one step at a time, one day at a time. Don't look at the mountain in front of you, just look at the next step of stairs, right? And if you keep doing that, one, one, stop looking at the 100. If you just do one, and one, this is my wallpaper on my phone as well, just step by step. Things become a lot simpler. If you keep focusing on the destination and this mountain you have to summit, it will be very overwhelming. But if you just stay true to yourself and your purpose and just take the next step, because you don't know how to get to the summit, but you know your next step. So if you just remind yourself to focus on that and then go through that, I think life will be a lot easier, and eventually you will get to the top of the mountain, but it wouldn't be through carrying yourself with so much anxiety, doubt, and depression, and whatnot. So I think that's a very good tip for anyone from any profession out there to, just focus on the next step and live, because life is in the present. Yeah, the future accomplishment things will come, but if you get there without having enjoyed the process and lived through the process and being present, there is only going to be regret, right? And we've seen countless examples like that, when people who've achieved that but they haven't lived through, and they just regret, and they're like, I wish I had done things a bit differently, right? So if you don't live through the process, you won't enjoy the result of it.
100%.
uh, so thank you for sharing that. I want to come back to Anas's question about how you what was the question, Anas? That how he
Got the mayor's job.
Oh,
landed that.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I just want to add on this as well. I think it's, like something our age, men our age particularly, go through a lot. A friend of mine was also sharing this thing. So what happens is that, like in this podcast we have people our age, and
yeah,
they're sharing their accomplishments, they're sharing their failures. So it was very interesting. I told Parmeet that this is the position that we hold right now, and right now we're nothing, right? We hardly get any views, we hardly have any subscribers, but when people come in, most of the time they're sharing their success stories. And like your story right now, particularly why I'm very excited about this episode, is about the process that you're in. And both Parmeet and I can relate to this because we are
yeah.
also in this process. Sometimes we also think about why we're doing this, because we have had to spend so
Oh, for
many days and
sure.
so many nights, yeah, in doing this. But like I told Parmeet, a friend of mine was also sharing, like when they listen to these success stories, it creates like a source, like a sort of a false pretense, that
Hmm.
everything is all green. People have their lives sorted, and like they are on a path, like a linear progression to success, to glory, to money, to fame. Well, it's not like that. you know you yourself and I myself and Parmeet myself combined together have had our fair share of failures, and the difference between us, and I believe 100% that we will succeed, that we will do whatever we want to do in life, is because of grit, it's because of tenacity, it's because that we will never give up and we will keep pushing on. And that is going to be the difference maker. Like Parmeet said, it is one step at a time, and once you break down those things, any task is manageable, provided that you have time to do that as well. So that those are some beautiful things that you guys mentioned. And yes, my question was to you, was regarding how you got this job, how you scored this job. I'm very interested to know about that.
Yeah, for sure. So, after my time at KPMG, I was kind of jobless because I didn't get hired back, and it was actually a great time because it was kind of my time to give myself some, tender TLC, tender loving care, and I think I needed it. So I went to Cuba.
Very cute,
Had
bro.
Yeah, no, hey, you know
TLC.
what? You need it. You need that. You need to take care of yourself
You
because
need the TLC.
that's what you need.
Do you say that to your girl, babe? Can I get some TLC?
I
It sounds like a
actually
drug.
that's
It
me.
sounds like a drug. It
I,
is. It is.
it's it's
hey,
actually
that's
like
what
it
I
is
get.
already a brand or something. Like it's I've seen that on TV, and I think it's a
TCL.
lifestyle
That's
magazine.
TCL. No,
TCL.
TCL
I
is a TV
Okay.
brand.
Okay.
literally.
Yeah, but I think everybody needs that, and you have to
Yeah,
provide that as
bro.
well.
Okay,
Is
that's
that
amazing.
Kudos to you for being so open, because like this toxic masculinity narrative going around, like we're trying to be so strong and stuff. Have you seen that meme, like when we're trying to be strong men and muscular and everything, and
yeah,
then when we're with their girl just in
With
their
their
lap and
girlfriend,
funny and
yeah.
stuff, and we become very soft, and that's how it is, bro, and
yeah,
there's
it
no
is.
shame in it, like you know
I'm still
so
looking for that like
real
big
men are
guts though.
vulnerable. Real men are vulnerable, so
That's a hundred
kudos to you.
percent, 100%. So
Yeah.
I decided to go to Cuba, and I wasn't really thinking about working at the time. So I started applying to different places, and I started looking at political schemes, and I was like, oh, I might as well help my town, because it was like the councilor and town elections. And I was like, okay, might as well help the mayor because he's been our mayor for since 2006, which is wild. So I was like, oh, okay, might as well help him out. So I decided to go help him out a bit, and then I was just asking him questions, and I said, hey, are you, open to hiring me on further if you win? So it kind of all worked out. I went door knocking. I went, handing out flyers, and I think putting in that time, I think he saw
Dude,
something.
that's phenomenal. Like you're actually making real difference that you can see as well. You're
Yeah,
working with the mayor of your own community, engaging with the community, working on the policies for the community that you live in, having that daily in-person interactions with the community and the mayor who kind of works for the community as the
I think that's
policymakers,
gonna make you even a
making
better
real
lawyer.
difference.
and
Yeah,
I think it
Yeah.
does help a lot because the number one thing you need to do as a lawyer is listen and understand
yeah.
what the issues are, because you weren't there. If they needed you,
Yeah.
you would have already set yourself up in a way that it wouldn't come back to bite you. But now
So
you're
so basically, like, so you just asked and it happened. Like you just like, of course,
well, no,
you provided
I
that
was,
you, yeah,
yes.
provided that you worked for it, and then when you asked him, and
I
then like he
It all
onboarded
depended.
you.
I think it all
Yeah.
depended on if he was going to win again, right? So I
Okay.
think my goal was to get him to win. So I think it all kind of worked out in that sense because
but
I,
but I think even like asking and like even planning for it is amazing, and this I just want to insert like a small story for people just to make them understand the process and the reward of trying. So this same guy, Tim Grover, right? And at that time we're talking about in the 1970s and the 80s, right? At that time there's no email, there's no form of communication that we have right now, right? And he was a personal trainer, right? And basically essentially what he does is a personal trainer, for the lack of better words, right? And he wrote to the Chicago Bulls team, right? Every player in that roster, introducing himself like the old style mail, like
yeah,
handwritten or typed, I don't know. But he wrote to everyone except for one player, Michael Jordan, right? He wrote to every player. And of course, at that time, he is not known, no one knows him, yada, 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 right? And guess what? Who reached out to him?
Michael
Like
Jordan.
Michael Jordan, right? So that's
Oh,
the
no
thing. Like,
way.
he tried, but he didn't try for Michael Jordan, but he tried for most of the team, right?
Yeah,
And Michael Jordan must have seen, like, this guy is trying, and like, he just wanted to check out what's the deal, and then Michael Jordan reached out to him. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is just trying, just asking the question, just putting yourself in front of the opportunity might get you the job, might get you the girl, might get you anything that you wanted.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
so
You
I
miss
don't
a
know, like
hundred
your
percent.
story, yeah, your story just made me think of that, and
Yeah,
that, like, because this is a guy I don't know, but you're a guy I know who tried. So okay, I
yeah,
think now cold approach is the way to go
100%.
for
You miss
things.
100% of the shots you don't take. So if you
Beautiful.
don't take it, you know, why? How
Yeah.
do you expect? How do you expect it to happen if you don't try? So
And honestly, in hindsight, I don't know if you're going to become a lawyer or not. What I know is that you wanted to help people, and that was your higher purpose that you wanted to serve, and you're
definitely,
already doing that. You're already
definitely.
doing that. You're quite good in my life and a lot of other people for sure. And then obviously you're working for the community and contributing. So you're already doing all that stuff, man. When the right time is, that will come, and you won't see why things happened the way it happened and the good in that later in
100%.
time. So I'm
Yeah,
glad you have that faith, uh, and that's what's gonna take you forward.
I think that's
Lastly,
what we
I
all
just
need
wanna,
in life. Sorry, we need a little
yeah,
faith because,
yes,
if you think you can control everything, you have too much ego. Honestly, you have
yeah,
way too much
but
ego.
yeah,
You can't
I
control the
like that
world.
about you because, bro, you're so 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 humble. You're so humble and like I don't know how else. Like, there's a lot of people in our society. When you there's a tiny bit of arrogance in everyone. There's some in me as well. Like people, a lot of people used to think I'm very arrogant, which I'm very working on. Like my best friend in college used to tell me, uh, she was very kind and always talking to everyone. So everyone would tell her that, "How are you friends with this guy? He's so arrogant and stuff." And she would come and tell me, and I'm like, "Why do I seem arrogant?" And I realized this later on that I was just afraid to go up and talk to people, and they assumed that I was arrogant. I don't know. Anyway, but with you, like you're always so humble and easy to talk to, and you, I don't feel small or big talking to you. You feel equal, which is amazing.
I just
So
want to add on that. I believe we do need like a little bit, not like a little bit, but arrogance, not in like a bad way where you put people down or where you are demeaning or like I forgot the word, but yeah, condescending to people, right? I
yeah,
believe a bit of self belief, a bit of like you need power. There is absolute need of having faith in yourself. And Parmeet and I have done an episode where we talked about the power of faith having in oneself, and of course our friends and family having
yeah,
faith in us as well. I believe arrogance. I believe this word might be like demonized a little bit, but I believe having that flair, because you see, in men, I'm not even kidding you, and people might factually shoot me down or so, but in men, having that drive, having that competition boosts
drives
our
them.
test yeah, boosts our testosterone up as well biologically, because you see, like people and like people don't like to agree, because these are things which are little hot takes and this and that, but life is a competition. I'm not even
Hmm.
kidding you. Reproduction, look, reproduction is a competition. If I am to speak very biologically, and people might disagree with me,
Yeah,
we are looking for suitable partners. We are looking for beautiful, compelling, like partners which are able to take care of our offsprings and take us species along. That is biologically, you are intertwined with that. You cannot run away from that.
primarily.
People might say other things in this day and age to be politically correct, but life is a competition. Otherwise, we won't be trying to be um, like bettering ourselves. We
Yeah,
want to becoming a better species, because in terms, like Parmeet has mentioned this a lot, when your glass is full, you're able to help others as well. When you study more, you have much more knowledge to share. When you are physically able, you're able to work better, help other people better as well. So life is a competition. So I do believe you need to have a certain sense of arrogance, a certain sense of belief, but like also Prameet says,
learn how to
channelize it.
control it.
Yes, channelize it in such a way that it doesn't, so that you're still creating that environment where people are coming up to you. Because I'll be
Yeah,
very honest, again, people look, people say that yes, you can be vulnerable, yes, men can cry and everything, and I do agree with that at a certain extent. But I do believe people also look up to people who are strong.
hmm.
You sometimes, I also need sometimes people who I can come to, who can lend me a shoulder sometimes. But I also try to be a person who, like where people can come to and I can give them a shoulder, because God
Yeah,
knows, life is difficult, and we need people like those, people we can look up to. So guys, have like a like have some faith in yourself. Be that man, be that woman that people look up to, and embrace your failures. Wear your emotions on your sleeves. I think, like Anirudh, I've learned so much from you. This is my third interaction with you, or second interaction with you, and I just thank you so much for your time, as well as your story, as well as your emotions as well. I think I'm going to have a fantastic week, having learned a lot from you, because while talking to you, I've also remembered a lot of my failures, all those times where I could not get into the university that I wanted to, where I failed several of my A level exams, where I've had to give maths maybe 4 times and to still fail it and switch it to an easier subject. But you gotta do what you gotta do to get here in life. You gotta keep crawling, but you don't
Yeah,
stop. So
hundred
yeah.
I
percent.
failed a lot. I failed a lot, and
You
I'm
got to
proud of
do
it.
what you got to do. Exactly.
It
Exactly.
is what it is. Yeah,
Yes.
I agree with you, Anas. I would lastly just like to say, like in a way, Jordan Peterson. He says you should be an absolute monster as a
I
man,
I
but
love
then
this.
learn to
I
control it.
love this.
Learn to
Yes,
control it
I love
because
this.
you can't be soft. You can't be if you can't get through this world that we live in being soft. It will kill you. Should learn to be a monster, but then learn to control that. There's a very beautiful saying by Bruce Lee. Says, "I'd rather be a gardener in a war than a. I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war."
Exactly. And I think Peterson also means the same. I'm also forgetting, but I
Yes,
love this. I love this.
Peterson saying the same thing.
This
He
is
has a very
exactly this is
nice
exactly
book.
what I'm trying to say. This is exactly what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say. Yeah.
No, no, I got you. That's why I want to clear it for everyone. Don't go around being a in society. Be good. That's all we were
Yeah.
trying to say. So,
No.
yeah, I think that's amazing. This episode was so nice, man. Thank you for coming on, brother. I would lastly want to ask you this question we ask everyone at the end of the podcast. What does success mean for you, very briefly, if you were to tell us in your words? What does success mean for you?
I think success at the end of my life, or what I achieve or what I want to achieve, is just being able to be happy every day. And I think that is success in my eyes, because
Where
if
does
I'm
that come
happy,
from?
I think it's
What
after
makes you
going
happy?
through anything. Anything can make me happy. Looking at the sun can make me happy. Wearing fresh clothes that smell good can make me happy. I think like the
But
song
how do
"These
you
Are a
get to
Few."
that mentality? Because you do still look at sun every day and you still do
100%.
wear clothes every day.
Yes, yes. But I think it's after failing so much and seeing that even not achieving that one result I wanted can still, make me happy to see the sun, or make me happy to wear
Yeah,
clothes that smell good. I think that's what it
yeah.
comes down to, because it's being happy with whatever is going on in your life, and just maintaining that, it's not good, it's not bad, it's let's see what happens.
Being okay with
Exactly.
what and
Because
who you are.
yeah. No, I think there's like this one little riddle or something that talks about, this man whose son gets injured, and then they have to he's like, "Oh, we'll see." And then somebody like the government comes for conscription, and then tries to take his son, but his son's injured, and then he'll say, "Oh, we'll see." Is that a good thing or a bad thing? So it's just
Yeah.
going along with whatever life throws
You
your
never
way.
know why. Yeah.
You never know
Everything
why things
happens
happen.
for good reason.
Exactly,
Everything
but
happens for
we'll
good
see what
reason.
happens. So I think it's
Yeah.
just living in that constant state of "we'll see" is not a bad thing, because I think people that plan too much, or people that expect too much, like get married by 25, get like freaking
Oh,
have 3 kids by like 30, or I don't know, some stupid like a path or linear path to life. I don't think that's happiness. I
Yeah.
think that's just like goals,
I don't
sure,
even think that's
goals.
possible.
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think that's just too much. I think you got to focus
Yeah.
on just each day, and giving each day,
It's,
and just being happy each day. So I think that's success for me. If I'm happy every day, I'm successful.
I
That
guess
is
you're still
beautiful,
trying to
brother.
figure that out
Exactly.
every day.
But
Yeah.
and it's
That's
okay.
amazing,
It's
bro.
okay not to know, It's okay not to know.
Yeah. It's not okay not to know. You're in pursuit. You're in the process, right?
Exactly.
Every day learning new things. And that's
Exactly.
beautiful, bro.
Hey, just
That's beautiful.
expect yourself to see all over YouTube, okay? Because I think you just dropped a lot of wisdom nuggets.
Okay.
So, like people will be scrolling through. Just don't be surprised, when you're walking into a Starbucks in Oakville and you
Oh,
hear yourself, it's okay not to be okay. And,
Gonna be a local
just like,
star.
hey, that's me.
yeah. I would
on the
appreciate
billboards.
that, guys. Oh my god.
Anirudh Nathan for the next mayor.
Oh my God, no, that's not. We'll censor this part out. We don't
Thank you
want
so
to.
much.
We
Hey,
don't
no,
want
no,
your boss
no.
to see that.
It's all good.
I'm just kidding. I'm
No,
just
no, no.
kidding. I'm
That's
just kidding.
I appreciate that. Not now, but maybe next year, maybe the year after that. Who knows? We'll
Mm.
see.
It's just humor. It's just humor.
Uh,
People will understand it. But
of course.
man, thank you so much for coming on. This was such a genuine, authentic conversation, and I can say that for the both of us, me and Anas. And I love you, bro. Thank you for
Love
coming
you
on.
too, bro.
Appreciate you giving us the time, and can't wait to see how you progress through this
Very
journey of
excited.
your career and your life. And yeah, wait to celebrate the wins and the failures with you. I'll
Thank you
always be
so
here.
much, brother.
And I
Good
can't
luck.
wait to see you in Australia. You promised me you'll
100%.
come soon. So
Yes.
I'm waiting for you. And then when you do come on, hopefully we can do another episode then. And
Live.
That would
Live
be
in that
amazing.
little
Yeah,
pool in the
live,
yeah,
hot tub.
yeah,
Wiser
yeah.
Together live,
In the
We
hot
just need
tub.
to figure this in
Australian tour.
the in the hot tub.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, this is amazing. Thank you again,
I
Anirudh,
appreciate you
for
guys.
joining. Truly appreciate your time, and everyone else for thank you for joining us and sticking with us till the end and being a part of this. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Please do let us know what you liked or disliked. If you have any feedback for us, for Anirudh, uh, anything you want to share, any conversation you want to have, maybe you want to ask Anirudh about something about law, anything. We're here to engage and converse. And yeah, hopefully looking forward to engaging with you guys, and keep watching, keep listening, and we will see you next Sunday. Thank you, guys.